Okay, so I know I'm looking a little rough, but I've been cleaning and dusting all day. So, yeah, whatever. Anyhow, um, this video is talking about the eventual light rail link that connects Tacoma to Seattle, right? Now, I know this is a bit confusing, and this has to do with Sound Transit and their whole naming system. The light rail line that you take from the airport into downtown Tacoma is called Central Link. And I don't know why they chose that name, but that's what it's called. They've then since actually named additional lines that they've added. The line connecting Bellevue is the East Link, for example. The line connecting, University of Washington is the UW Link. But now they're going to change that to the Northgate Link once Northgate opens, and so on and so forth, right? But eventually they're going to change all this, and they're slowly doing so with color codes, which makes sense. Most big cities, the light rail systems or subway systems or what have you are line coded, and it just makes a lot more sense. You don't have to remember if it's the Central Link, East Link, whatever. It's much easier to say you're taking the blue line or the red line or what have you. Well, the line that connects Tacoma to Seattle is not even hasn't even started yet, right? They haven't even actually started building from the Angle Lake station down to Federal Way, which is the next phase that they would have to do when we're talking about down this direction. And so for them to do that, they're basically, most of this down here is elevated. When you go over to Bellevue, and this is where I got a little bit upset when I heard the news of what would happen down here. And I got upset because Tacoma is the second largest city in this region. It's the third largest city in the state. It could become the second largest city in the state very soon because we're starting to really catch up quick to Spokane and may even pass them. But we often don't get a lot of the money that we should get from Sound Transit. We don't get a lot of the recognition from other businesses. We don't get a lot of what people down here feel that we deserve, right? So even though there's evidence to show that there's a lot of commuters who come from here up to the job centers up north, so transit should be more strengthened here than other places. So the East Link or the East Side Connector is connecting basically downtown Seattle, which is around the International District, all the way over to Bellevue and eventually Redmond and all those other places, right? Well, they have to go across the floating bridge, which we have the longest concrete floating bridge in the world. And so now we have the longest light rail platform that's floating on water in the world. So we're actually connecting that. We're building it so trains can literally float on top of water and go over into Mercer Island, Bellevue, all of that. So that by itself is an engineering feat. A lot of money to do. But once it gets into Bellevue, downtown Bellevue, it goes underground. So they're getting underground stations. Now, if you've seen the videos I did when I went to the University of Washington's opening, because it's not, all of UW has not opened yet, okay? They've only opened up the section that's right there by the stadium, Husky Stadium, right? And it looks amazing. They're still going to open up the other two stops there, Roosevelt and another station that's up there. But the point is that Bellevue's getting an underground station. Now, people will argue that there's a lot of buildings, etc., but they're getting an underground station. We had hoped recently there was talk of a underground station. Now, prior to that, Tacoma was told that we were going to get an above ground elevated station, and everyone kind of accepted that. But we had local leaders saying, why not go underground? This area where they're actually going to put this, which is close to our shop. Our new pottery shop is there. There's a lot of buildings, a lot of apartment buildings going in that general area. Literally on that street where we are is a very large building called Freight House Square. You also have right there on the other side of it is where the Sounder train comes in. It takes up a big, huge area of that for the station. Then when you look at the other side of the building, so Freight House Square is here, between my fingers, and then on this side is Sounder Track, all through there, the heavy rail, taking you all the way south, eventually to DuPont, and then all the way north to Seattle, and you can even go all the way up to Everett if you go onto the North Line. On this side of Freight House Square is a street and the Tacoma Link light rail. Okay, so there's track. You can't uproot tracks on either side. It's cost prohibitive, doesn't make any sense. And then you have Freight House Square, which is a private property. They can't destroy it, even though there's a section in the middle that the Sounder Station uses and Amtrak uses as well. It's a whole new upgraded section of the building. Now, Sound Transit was going to, along that street, which is 25th Street, they were going to actually consider an underground station. However, there's a pause to that, and the pause is that this is old tribal lands, and they believe that there's a burial ground area within the site location. So it's a non-starter. Federal government won't approve it. They won't give any sort of money, nothing like that, because it would disturb the remains. That makes sense. So the underground station is completely out. Now, once we got an explanation of that, okay, I understand that. But it still seems like we're getting shafted. Keep in mind, the station locations they're putting this in doesn't go all the way really into downtown. Now, I understand. We have Tacoma Link, and it takes you into downtown and all of that, and it's supposed to be a little bit faster when they upgrade it and all that. I get it. But still, to actually have the trains come a little bit further into the city would make a whole lot more sense. But that's not going to happen. We're going to have an elevated station. Now, where are they going to put the station? I don't know. Recently, a developer who's building an apartment building there, which is called Trax, is speeding up the process. They've been trying to cut through all the red tape to get their building constructed, because once the building is started, then Sound Transit, which is only going to build this in 2030 or 2032, something like that, this building will be long up, and there's nothing you can do about it. But keep in mind, there's also other buildings going up all along this area, and these are transit-oriented development type structures. So you're going to see a lot of apartment buildings coming in the next couple of years in that general spot. So Sound Transit can't just come through and destroy those without paying a huge amount of money. So where are they going to put the station? If it's not going to go underground, where are you going to put the station on 25th Street? Well, and that is now their preferred line that they're going to build. The only thing I can think of is the station would have to stop well far of where Freight House Square is, where the Tacoma Link light rail, there's warehouses all along this area. They could take down and knock down some of these big giant warehouses. That's a probability. That's possible. That's possible. The big building that I'm talking about that I would think of is now a U-Haul place. Excuse me. They've taken over this huge, ugly building. And so I could see Sound Transit knocking that building down and using it as a terminal. And it makes good sense. And the reason why it would make good sense is because right in that area is our multimodal transit center. You can catch any of the buses that are going through Tacoma, the buses that go out to the suburbs all around us. It takes you all the way up to Seattle. You can also catch different types of buses. So not only from Pierce County, but you can also catch buses that go down to Olympia. You can catch buses that go up into Seattle, King County, that type of thing, right? So it makes sense for them to put it right there because the bus station, the parking garage, all of that is right there. I told Noel today that I could see them even building it on top of the parking garage. I doubt it, but I could see them probably knocking down one of these old warehouses. I don't think they're going to cost that much. I mean, these buildings look bad. And I don't think that U-Haul or any of these other places would cry that much if Sound Transit says, I want to take the building, and then they knock it down. I don't see that being much of an issue. Keep in mind, too, this is a very large building, old warehouse. So if they were to knock this building down, Sound Transit is really trying its best to have housing close to transit. That's something that Tacoma has been pushing, Seattle has been pushing heavily, is that they want to make sure that along the site there is more housing, right? This building allows that to happen. Now, here's what I had said I think to a group of folks that I was talking to, that I think that if it's an above ground station, there should be some prereqs that are there. I think it should be a fully enclosed station, meaning that not like the Engle Lake station where literally it's just, I mean, you can throw some gum from the platform and it'll hit the ground. It should be an enclosed station, right? I think the other thing is that the building obviously should have escalators and elevators and steps and all that type of stuff. I think that should be the case. But I think that right there at the platform, there should be platform doors. We don't have platform doors in any of the transit modes that we have here, except for at the airport. At the airport, we have a train that connects you to the different terminals, and there is platform doors there. I think this station here, and this is not a huge amount of money. I mean, they're spending a lot anyway. This isn't going to take them out of budget that much, but I think that the city should push and say, A, we want an enclosed structure. If you look at Engle Lake, it's kind of like that. All they got to do is add some sides to it. It's basically enclosed. We should have an enclosed structure. We should have, which would allow for air conditioning, things like that. We should have it where there are platform gates, and there should be bathrooms also inside the station. I think that if we're going to sacrifice a lot of things in terms of we've paid a lot of money, they should make this where it's a lot easier. The other part of this is that I think Sound Transit should also add another light rail stop. This is something that I think, and it doesn't cost a lot. When you look at basically I can look out the window of our store and there's a line that connects the station all the way down to the maintenance barn, right? To me, there should be a stop that goes down. We're talking adding track that's probably less than 100 feet, and they should add a station there, only so that people don't have to walk forever and a day to get up to the Sounder station or to the Tacoma Link light rail station. So to me, they should do some modifications. I don't know, you tell me, but yeah, I think that having an elevated station makes sense, especially given the sensitive topic and also the cultural remains that are there, that are present. So that does make a lot of sense. But I think that having an elevated station should be something that stands out above and beyond anything that the elevated stations here have. Tell me what you think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.